President Trump has ordered the Pentagon to begin nuclear weapons testing for the first time since 1992. Now, Trump says it's because China and Russia, they're still doing this, and the U.S. cannot sit back and let them overtake us. Welcome, my friends, to a new nuclear arms race. The weapons technology that we have for nuclear weapons is decades old. And that doesn't just mean literal old bombs and ICBMs. It means the technological advancement of them. Now, about 10 or so years ago, maybe a little bit longer, the U.S. had developed what's called a gravity bomb, a new gravity bomb, a megaton, very small. They had advanced the technology. And a gravity bomb, if you're not familiar, is a bomber, a jet will drop it. The kinetic force from the impact is what triggers the explosion. And a megaton bomb is big. It's a lot larger than what we saw at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but nowhere near the most powerful weapons we have now. You see, there's something funny in the scaling of weapons, and it's not just reflected there. Moore's law, for those that are not familiar, was this idea that every 2 years computing power would double until eventually we hit a wall. We could not make processors double anymore. So what did they do? Multi-core. They said, well, hold on. We can increase the speed and the processing power if we double the cores of the processors. We can't make them any smaller, but we can put 2 of them in there. So then we started doing quad core and octo core. And so now, by increasing the number of cores, you've increased the power. So it's not just about the single bomb. And that's what we understood very well about nuclear weapons. With the creation of the Multiple Independently Targeting Reentry Vehicles, or MIRV, and this is old tech, by the way, I'm talking 40, 50 years, they said, hey, instead of dropping 1 bomb, let's launch an intercontinental ballistic missile with 12. So when you see the warhead blast yield shown on these diagrams or these potential scenarios, that's just one of 12. The reality is one single MIRV could wipe out the entire U.S. eastern seaboard. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Maybe not the entire seaboard, but 2 probably could. When you take a look at the nuclear fallout from the explosions, if they launched MIRVs or the Russian equivalent and dropped 12, let's estimate what, 4 to 9 megaton warheads. If they peppered from Florida upwards, that's going to wipe out those cities and then just spray every city north and eastward with radioactive fallout. NBC News reports Trump orders Pentagon to start nuclear testing on an equal basis with other countries. Quote, because of other nuclear testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis, Trump said. Now, Russia is warning this will lead to chaos. Well, maybe Russia shouldn't be saber-rattling nuclear bombs at us. But do we really want to play this game of chicken? This is the problem of war. Somebody says, I'm not going to sit back and let you just run roughshod over me. And with Ukraine and the expansion of NATO, Russia says, you want to play, we'll play. And Trump says, no, you don't understand what door you've opened. Now Russia's threatening chaos. Big talk. Russian lawmaker. It won't let me. It thinks the guy's name is a slur. He has warned the U.S. nuclear testing could trigger global instability. Russia maintains a voluntary moratorium on testing, but only under equal and parity conditions. I want to play this short clip from you from the true scale of modern nuclear weapons. This is okay. What is YouTube's not gonna? What is going on? It's not going to show me. They changed YouTube to where I can't actually look. What is this? YouTube, you're terrible. All right, well, let me play the clip for you, and then we'll shout out the channel here.
Finally, at the top of the list is the Russian RS-28 Sarmat missile, ominously nicknamed the Satan II. This intercontinental ballistic missile represents the pinnacle of modern nuclear weaponry.
This is Russia's Satan II missile we have long been warned about. Trump is reigniting this, we believe, because of Russia's threats to utilize these nuclear weapons. Check this out.
Developed to replace the aging R-36M Satan missiles, the RS-28 Sarmat is designed to evade missile defense systems and deliver massive payloads across the globe. The Sarmat is a three-stage liquid-fueled missile that weighs over 208 tons and measures over 35 meters, or about 116 feet in length. It's capable of carrying a variety of warhead configurations, including up to 10 heavy MIRVs or 15 lighter ones, along with advanced countermeasures to bypass missile defenses. Its range exceeds 18,000 kilometers, or over 11,000 miles, allowing it to reach targets anywhere on Earth.
Anywhere on Earth and up to 10 warheads.
The most concerning features of the RS-28 is its ability to utilize a fractional orbital bombardment system, or FOBS. This means the missile can enter a low Earth orbit and approach targets from any direction, including over the South Pole, effectively bypassing traditional early warning systems that are oriented toward the north. Some reports speculate that the Sarmat could theoretically carry a payload of up to 50 megatons, equivalent to the Tsar bomber, the most powerful nuclear device ever detonated. While such a massive yield is more hypothetical and not practical for modern military use, imagining its potential impact is sobering. Consider a scenario where a 50 megaton warhead is detonated over New York City. The immediate fireball would engulf an area with a radius of over 5 kilometers or over 3 miles, vaporizing everything within 83 square kilometers or 32 square miles.
This must be stressed. Let me see if we can go back here. This is the fireball, meaning if this detonated over New York, you are gone. It's a crater.
The intense blast wave would cause heavy destruction up to 26 kilometers or 16 miles away, leveling buildings and structures in more than 2,000 square kilometers.
Now, so in this part, what he's describing, if you've seen the old videos where the building is blasted back and is knocked over, that's the second dramatic area. The first fireball is nothing, it's instantly vaporized. 3 miles. Outside of that, buildings are being knocked over.
Close to 800 square miles. Third-degree burns could be inflicted on people up to 60 kilometers or 37 miles away.
37 miles away, you're getting third-degree burns.
Covering an area of close to 11,000 square kilometers or over 4,200 square miles. The human toll would be unimaginable. Estimated fatalities could exceed 7 million people, with over 6 million more injured. And this is just from a single RS-28 Sarmat missile, assuming the theoretical payload of 50 megatons of TNT. To put this into perspective, when the 50 megaton Tsar bomber was detonated in 1961, the flash was visible as far away as Norway, over 1,000 kilometers from the test site.
Wow.
Similarly, a 50 megaton explosion over New York City would be visible with the naked eye all the way to Columbia, South Carolina, nearly 1,000 kilometers away.
Now, I do want to add, though, I actually don't think the East Coast would be the principal target, though most people do live in the East Coast. First of all, what is the real reason why anybody would want to nuke the United States? We don't want to nuke them. They don't want to nuke us because we want to be rich. We want to eat food. And a war to this scale is not something that people are going to want unless you're nuts. But I also am not a big believer in mutually assured destruction. The general idea is that if nuclear weapons are used at this scale, we'll nuke you. Yes, to be fair, if you nuke New York City, we nuke Moscow. Agreed. But this has turned into this idea that any use of nuclear weapons would immediately mean we wipe out Russia. So as I've talked about the Ukraine war, I said Vladimir Putin absolutely is willing and capable of using nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Low yield, kiloton bombs or otherwise, just wiping out the eastern portion of the country, creating radioactive fallout barriers effectively so they can seize territory, or just shutting down the war if they want. Now, people argue, no, they would never do that because it's mutually assured destruction. Ukraine ain't going to nuke anybody. That's the point. who is going to sacrifice their country because Russia nuked Ukraine? Now, if it ever did come to actual nuclear war, there's a movie that came out I recommend you do not watch called House Full of Dynamite. It's terrible. Actually, watch the first 20 minutes and turn it off and then be upset. The movie is about a nuclear strike on Chicago, and it has no ending. It's a 2-hour-long movie that actually is only 20 minutes long, and I'll explain. It's 20 minutes of you watching the rapid response to a nuclear strike on Chicago. And then once that 20 minutes is up, the whole story restarts again from a slightly different perspective, but the exact same story with typically the same conversations. Like there's a woman and she's on the phone and she's saying, what are we going to do? And the guy on the phone says, we're out of luck. We need to evacuate. Then when that ends, 20 minutes later, it's the same thing, but now you see the guy talking on the phone to the woman, and I'm just like, what is this? So don't watch it. However, my point is, because of the jet stream, one of the most effective uses of nuclear weapons on the United States would be to target the Midwest. The West Coast it's the Rockies are going to block a lot of this stuff off, but the jet stream can carry a lot of the fallout. If they were to hit the Midwest, if they were to hit Chicago and moving down the Mississippi, that nuclear fallout's going to spread across the East Coast and just destroy everything. Miserably bad.
But what does all this mean for us today? Despite Russia's impressive arsenal on paper, recent events have cast doubt on its true capabilities. Russia's new Sarmat ballistic missile, known as the Satan II, reportedly blew up during a test launch, leaving a massive crater at the site. Combined with the setbacks and debacles Russia has faced in its aggressor's war in Ukraine, it seems that Russia might not be as formidable as many once thought, but merely a paper tiger.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yet in a full-scale nuclear exchange, even a few missiles from Russia's nearly 6,000 nuclear warheads would cause unimaginable damage to the United States. But the real challenge isn't about who has the biggest bomb, but about ensuring these weapons are never used. Because in a nuclear war, there are no winners, only a world left in ruins where everyone loses.
Yup, that's the reality. The Atlantic says Trump is very confused about nuclear weapons. The president says he wants to resume nuclear testing, but doesn't seem to know why, by Tom Nichols. Just before heading to his meetings with China, the president of the United States said he was going to do the nuclear test. We get it. We read this already. Almost none of this is right. Russia has the world's largest stockpile of nuclear bombs because the Russians are still holding onto a lot of smaller tactical weapons designed for use on the battlefield. Trump is correct that China is much further back. The People's Republic probably has something like 600 warheads, meaning it would have to reproduce almost 1,000 bombs a year to reach parity with the United States. The question then is, what is Trump's true motivation? I had a chance to speak with Rand Paul, which that interview will be up later, and we don't know what Trump's plan is with this. If he's doing nuclear testing on the atolls, this is bad. If he's testing in a general sense to make sure they're operational, well, that's a good idea. There are reports that our nuclear weapons are in disrepair because they're so old. Where this ultimately leads us, my friends, is, man, you don't want to get to that point. Nobody does. Anybody claiming they do, they got something wrong with them. People do not understand the true power of modern nuclear weapons, and more importantly, these are old. I wonder what else they've got. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show. Stay tuned. More to come. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.